Welcome to the OVW podcast, the original podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogues.
I'm Brian Hines.
And I'm Brian Allen.
It's a Monday in the feed. You know what that means. We are sitting down with another personality from Ohio Valley Wrestling, this time in the form of the U.S. champion, Big Zoe. Dr. Zoe. Dr. Big Zoe. It's Zoe time, baby. How are you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm feeling great. It's Friday on this day, the day that we're meeting, and I guess people will see us on Monday or whenever they decide to tune in, but I'm feeling quite great.
No, thank you for joining us. This has been something we've been really looking forward to for a long time. You're a perennial favorite of Ohio Valley Wrestling. For me personally, you were one of the first people I ever saw wrestle at Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Wow.
At a singles match before, I want to say probably the 2018 Nightmare Rumble. And I was blown away by your athleticism. I had really just gotten into wrestling, and seeing someone like you in person was just kind of showed me what all this sport was capable of. So I have a special place in my heart for you, Big Zoe. As well as go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say I appreciate that. It means a lot.
So let's kind of get into it. You've had a long career at Ohio Valley Wrestling. When did you start wrestling at OVW?
I started. It would have been June of 2016.
Okay.
So around May, June 2016. Yeah. So it'll officially be 10 years next summer. So we kind of round up when I talk about my 10 years, my decade 10 years. So we're close, but not quite.
We'll call it 10 years for the sake of conversation.
Yeah, close enough.
Your 10 years, 10 years.
Yep.
What inspired you to get into professional wrestling?
So I think like any self-respecting wrestling fan starts off as a backyard wrestler, right?
Okay.
So I think that's how we did it in the 90s, at least.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I started off as a fan, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was something I just really enjoyed watching wrestling, especially during the Attitude Eras when I grew up, like in middle school, watching DX and NWO and kind of watching some of that stuff. And I was like, I can do that. So just like literally like power bombing my friends on the couch and put them in the torture rack and doing stuff like that. And like, it was just fun. So like literally like here I am like a 6th, 7th grade kid with a little, I don't know, like probably 50-pound little sand weight type of thing. I'm just sitting here between commercial breaks on Raw, just with my shirt off, just lifting my weights, just watching it, getting inspired. So I mean, just like literally, I guess just being a fan. And I've always been well, not always, but I've been at least since 6th grade. I've been an athlete. You know, I started off playing football, and then once I realized I can make my body do weird things, I actually started off my athletic prowess, I guess you could say, like I was training to become a Ninja Turtle or a Power Ranger.
Okay.
So,
nice.
So I figured, so that's why I started flipping and kicking. Like, that's the only reason why I can do all these crazy kicks and flips and stuff. Because as a young kid, I was like, I gotta learn how to flip and be an acrobat just in case they call me.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
So I figure if you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. And like by training your body to do that at a young age, now fast forward like decades and decades later, like you just have that muscle memory. So it's like I don't forget how to do a round off or a back handspring or a crazy kick or whatever. I just have a few extra 100 pounds on top of it.
A couple of very important questions to glean from that. Most importantly, here at the top, who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? Who's your favorite Power Ranger?
Yeah, that's correct.
You know, so I guess it's a matter of evolution, right? So like as a young kid, it's like Michelangelo. He's the party animal. He's the guy that likes to have a good time and
fun. He was my favorite when I was growing up, for sure.
Absolutely. I even got
Uh-oh.
I even got an orange Big Zoe shirt, which doesn't really have anything to do with Michelangelo, but I figure it's orange,
Close
so I might as well
enough,
throw it out.
Yeah.
Made me think about him. But I think as you become a middle-aged, cantankerous man, you start to identify and understand where Raphael's coming from.
Yeah.
It's like as a kid, it's like, why is he always pissed off? Then it's like, man, Michelangelo, you just keep on like messing up, dog. Like at some point, just get your crap together.
I will
so
say,
I can identify with like why Raphael is like always so angry. He's like pissed off, and it's like, man, we're sitting here living in the sewer, eating pizza, and like we can't like have a normal dating life. And like he's got to be pissed off. He's a teenager too. Y'all forget that part. They're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So as far as Power Rangers go, like I was always a big fan of the Black Ranger because, you know,
We know
I
how
feel
that
like
goes. Yeah.
if they was gonna like cast one, then I'm like, it's the obvious fit. Like I grew up on the Mighty Morphin era,
That's
so
right.
I always like Zach, and then he was like, as you can see, like from like not so much these days, but Zach had the moves and he was dancing,
Yeah, he did.
and I'm like being able to throw some like Hapkido, like the kind of dance moves or whatever into the fighting. Like that's a lot of why I do what I do, right?
Right.
Like, so I mean, so that's part of it. But I mean, obviously, you can't like be a fan of Power Rangers, at least Mighty Morphin era, without respecting like the Green Ranger, the White Ranger,
Yeah,
like the Green
man.
Ranger saga, bro. Like we talking about 5 days after school, like coming home and watching 5 episodes of like, yo, that was legendary.
And you're
And then the
just like,
White
Mom, you
Ranger,
don't
like, so
understand how
Tommy is
important
like
this
the
is.
all-time greatest Power Ranger, but I always want to be the Black Ranger because there wasn't too many people that I would, turn on the TV and could identify with in that kind of way. So.
No, for sure, for sure. No, what other general nerdery are you into, Zoe? Because I feel like we've found a loose string on a sweater here.
you gotta keep pulling. I'm gonna be naked. Man. That's not how sweaters work, bro. You gotta take the lighter and burn it off. It's problematic. I mean, I like honestly, Big Zo, Doctor Zo, like Jose and we talk about this often. I talk about like Jose is Logan, and he calls me Hank McCoy.
Yeah.
Because like that's just like our personalities kind of mesh in that way. So I mean, I think that when we talk about like I don't want to say I'm a comic book nerd because I really don't read that many like physical comic books, but I'm definitely into like superhero cartoons. Like I grew up on Batman the animated series and X-Men,
Yeah.
94, 92 or whatever the original X-Men was before 97. Um uh what other nerd stuff? Video games. I don't call myself a video gamer anymore. I'm just a video game collector because it's like I'm at that age where like I finally have the money to be able to afford the games, but I don't have the time to play them.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many games I own that I've never even opened. So I can't even call myself a gamer anymore, but I love video games.
You mentioned
I
Isaiah.
like to read.
Well, you wrote a whole book.
Right.
You mentioned Isaiah. You guys have quite the history together. Legacy of Brutality. What was it like going through that era of OVW? Because that's the thing that people, I think, genuinely will never forget.
I mean, it was surreal, man. Like, established 2016, right? LOB. We jokingly, lovingly call ourselves the Babyface Factory because, like, even though like it started off as far as us being able to be the most badass, dominant, scary, guys that would come in and just do whatever we would do. Like we always had, like before I even came to OVW, Isaiah and I would talk about we need to literally burn this place back and rebuild it in our image. Like, and that was just real. Like, what can we do to make OVW different from like the stigma that it kind of had at that time? Like, how can we rebuild it to go back to the era of what we grew up on as OVW or whatever? So we're like, we gotta like refreshen this up, right? So when we came in, we just like we're beating up the commentators and beating up, everybody that was around. Ron Head, he could get it. Gilbert Corsi, he could get it. Like there wasn't anybody that couldn't get it at that time period.
Yeah.
So just coming in and just destroying everybody, wreaking havoc, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, man. Like so, I think that like people don't like really realize the legacy of brutality, right? Like people like there's been so many iterations of it at this point. Like OG, it was me and Ashcraft, and then Isaiah shortly came, and then Cashflow came after that. That was like the full form. Since then we've had, Big Steve is awesome. We've had Jay Bradley is awesome. There's a Dapper Dan and Cashflow Vert. There was different iterations. But being able to come to OVW and establish and assert ourselves in such a way to where now, like, you pull up Wikipedia, like, longest reigning consecutive or individual tag team champions in the history of the company. Like, I didn't know that was a fact until somebody else nerded out and brought it up to my attention. Like, hey, check this out on Wikipedia. I'm like, oh, for real? And even if it's like a work or whatever, like, that's still like Hall of Fame worthy type of stuff. So it's like, you got to feel kind of good about that. So, I mean, it feels like we've cemented ourselves in that era, but also in that same vein, as much fun as we had together, like, because it's not like just pretending to like each other on TV. Like, we literally text every day. Like we have a legacy of brutality group. We just like checking in on each other on a daily basis.
Yeah.
When we're in the locker room, like we had to build our own locker room so that we could be like we're old. Like let's be honest too. Like we're all middle-aged guys as far as LOB goes versus like a locker room full of like young 18, 20-year-olds. And if we don't remove ourselves from that situation, it could be problematic. Like for our own sanity and theirs, right? So we had to have a safe place where we could just kind of like hold each other accountable, but also like not much different from APA. Like we would legitimately have parties as far as like we would take wrestling seriously, don't get me wrong, but we loved each other and each other's company. We'd have chicken parties. Like we come in, all right, who's bringing the rolls? And usually there's cash flow. He'd bring the rolls. I don't know why I like to bring the rolls, but he'd bring the rolls and the biscuits. I'd stop at like Dino's and get some fried chicken. A lot of times Ashcraft would have a rotisserie or, we just come in, we have a good time. Big Steve brings some sides. But it was a good time to be alive, man. Good time to be in wrestling.
I think it's very obvious every single time we've gotten the opportunity to talk to any of you guys from LOB that camaraderie and that brotherhood is real and everlasting.
Sure.
Every single time we've had the opportunity to talk to you guys, it's been just so obvious, and I think that's really incredible. Especially you've touched on this a few times, like middle-aged guys. We don't get a lot of like close friends sometimes, man. And
right.
That's such a great thing to kind of like personally and professionally find that relationship.
I agree. Yeah. So it was just something we could do together, and something like, especially under the tutelage of Al Snow, like once he came in too, helping us to understand his vision sometimes. Because sometimes like we had to understand like what is our purpose? Are we doing this right? Are we not doing this right? What did we go wrong? And just be like, all right, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. And sometimes we'd be like, what the hell is the process? And we had to just kind of like, all right, Ashcraft, don't beat anybody up right now. Don't cut anybody, Jose. Like, just pull it back. And we had to just kind of hold each other accountable. And it's like, let's just play some video games for a second. I'd bring in my old RetroPie. Ashcraft would bring in his Nintendo 64. And it's like, let's just play some games for a second. Let's play some cards, get our head off of it. And then we'll get back to it, recalibrate.
Now, who's the guy in the LOB group chat that is like most likely to be hitting you up like at an inappropriate hour? Like you're just like, I got stuff to do, man. Like,
well, I mean, the thing is a whole lot of it's not necessarily that like we're even having a whole lot of conversation these days, so much as like dropping random memes. And Jose is a night owl, so I mean, you could see it like any given random time. Isaiah's gonna put something. It might be like 3, 4 in the morning or whatever. Like, all right, well, the night ninja's doing his thing. He's on night duty.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably him. Yeah.
So let's if we can pivot just a little bit. Are you sitting in your office for work right now?
Yep.
And what do you do, in your words, for a job?
So I am a licensed clinical social worker, which is a bunch of letters that say I'm a therapist. More specifically, I'm a supervisor of other people on a mental health team. So I work at the Department of Veterans Affairs. And let me go and put this out here because I'm a federal employee, that the words that are being spoken by Dr. Big Zo Kwan Owens, licensed clinical social worker, are my own words, and they do not reflect any of the Department of Veterans Affairs in any kind of way, facility, or fashion. And I'm not being paid for this interview, so it's okay to be using the government instruments for these purposes. All that being said, I work for the VA, so I work with veterans, people that have served in our armed forces, our military, Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy. Just past Tuesday was Veterans Day, so thank you for your service. Anybody that's been out there doing your thing, Coast Guard. I have not met anybody in the what was it called? That's terrible. I work for the VA and I can't think of the branch of service, the new one. I was gonna say Star Wars. Space Force. Yeah, Space Force. I have not met anybody from the Space Force yet because I guess they're so new they probably aren't veterans yet, or at least I haven't seen them in Louisville, Kentucky yet. But anyways, what do I do? I'm a supervisor of a BHIP team. BHIP is Behavioral Health Interdisciplinary Program. So I'm a supervisor for other social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, nurse practitioners, nurses, and other people that we work together for people that have served in the military, more longer-term type of mental health treatments. If they need therapy, if they need medication, they come to us.
So was social work when did you decide? How did you decide that that was like something you wanted to pursue professionally?
So, I mean, I started off college as a psychology major. Like, I don't really know exactly, like, there wasn't like a special moment or
Sure.
light bulb where it's like, I gotta be a therapist. But at some point in life, the idea and the concept of being able to talk to people and make a living off of helping, number one, I just want to help people. I want to make a difference. I want to help people to feel better. And talking for a living as opposed to doing hard manual labor, like wrestling, no, I'm kidding. Or bricklaying or something like that. Like, it just seemed like it made sense. So I actually started off as a psychology major. Halfway through my junior year, I had a professor who just passed away, R.I.P. Pat McCutcheon.
Rest in
She
power.
said, you know that you can do the same thing with a master's in social work that you would require a doctorate in psychology to do. Bet, say less. I'm switch. Right? Like, it might cost me an extra year on undergrad, but it saved me like 3, 4 years on the back end.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, fast forward, I ended up becoming a doctor anyways, a doctor of social work, but I didn't require that doctorate
Congratulations.
to
Oh
be
yeah.
therapy. I've been a therapist, practicing therapy for the last nearly 15 years, right? But I realized that with the undergrad in psychology, I couldn't, at least in my opinion, I couldn't do as much with that as I could with the undergrad in social work, a bachelor's in
Hmm.
social work. It was just more broad. So I actually started off as a child protective services worker doing PCWCP, Public Child Welfare Certification Program. They paid for my last 2 years of college, even though I already had a full scholarship. But when you switch your major and it costs you an extra year, that full scholarship doesn't cover extra
That
years.
part.
So that part, yeah. So I went ahead and made that switch and that transition. And honestly, when I switched to social work, it's like I found my tribe, I found my community. It's like, this is just normal. It's like a fish swimming in water all of a sudden. Like, social work made a lot more sense to me than psychology, even
Hmm.
though obviously I have to know psychology, I have to understand psychology. Like, I am embedded in the world of psychology. But I feel like social work classes actually taught me how to help people, where psychology classes were like, here's a bunch of names and a bunch of theories that you're never going to really use. Like, when am I going to
Yeah.
use Sigmund Freud's theory, or, and think about, oh, you're dealing with an Electra complex and you have an Oedipus complex. I'm not going to use that in 2025. It doesn't make sense.
That's fair.
But just kind of knowing that background.
Well, and it's like, yeah, I wanna base my entire career around like the cokehead who had bad dreams about his dad. Like that's what I want to do. No, I
Right.
think that's so fascinating. Like, and I do want to say, like, I speaking personally, I have like the smallest smallest uh, personal experience with like child protective service. Not like me personally, but seeing it and knowing people that worked in it, and I I couldn't imagine what you would have to go through mentally to do something like that. And I mean, there's a direct parallel to that to what you do now with veterans. I mean, that is incredibly emotionally taxing stuff.
Sure. Sure.
Is what's how do you deal with that? How do you not take that home? How do you not let it kind of dominate your personal life?
I mean, anybody that says that they don't take it home is full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, if you take you home, then you take it home. And if you
Hmm.
care about people, then it's difficult to not think about people, right? But if you're honestly trying to do good work and you're honestly trying to make a difference for people, knowing that, okay, I did the best that I could, that's how you sleep at night. Like, if you did a half-assed job and if you didn't really put your effort in, then it might be a little bit more challenging. But knowing that I did everything that's in my power, that's the only thing that can kind of bring you that solace. I actually had when I moved to become a community mental health therapist or whatever, I had a client reach out to me. I don't know how they found me, like, I guess the white pages, yellow pages, or whatever.
Yeah.
They called me at my new place of employment. And I used to work in Trimble County doing CPS, and I live in Louisville, so it was like an hour commute. But they found me. I don't know how. But they called me, and this is somebody who I was involved in the court of terminating their parental rights on two of their kids, right?
Yeah.
She called me and she said, I just want to thank you because you saved my life. I'm like, say more. Like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, at that point, her partner had passed away. He was in, OD drugs, whatever. He had, young dude passed away. She was heavily involved in substances, but she's like, even though you remove my kids, I still have a good relationship with them through the adopted parent, and I now have another daughter, and I found Jesus, and I'm doing better, like, in my life now, because you were one of the few people, even though we couldn't quite get me together in that particular point to like get my kids back, you talked to me like a human and you believed in me and you trusted me and you like always, that meant so much to me that you were able to do that. And like that story, like it's hard to say that without getting the goosebumps. Is The Rock
Yeah.
would be like, look at my
Oh,
goosebumps.
yeah.
But like it's like it makes that difference, right? When you're able to like know that even if things aren't turning out perfectly, that I did all that I could do, and that's all you can do, right?
Like, I guess kind of a parallel to the question that I just asked. Uh, how do you keep it on all the time when you go into work? I mean, I don't think that there's any other profession that requires you to not be able to phone it in. There are no sick days. There are no phone it in days. There's no, oh, I stayed up a little bit too late last night doing X, Y, and Z. I can't really be there today. Like, how do you keep it on all the time?
I guess it's about being human, right? Like, it's not, it's only turning it on if you're being fake. You know what I mean? Like, if
Okay.
you're just presenting as who you are every day, like, because there's gonna be some days that I didn't get enough sleep. So now I have to drink a third cup of coffee. There's gonna be some days when I'm dealing with my own stuff and my own baggage, my own emotional state. My job isn't necessarily to put my emotions first, it's to meet the other person where they are as far as what's your emotional state and to be able to empathize with people
Mm-hmm.
because that's the strongest, like that's the magic sauce, right? is is if you're feeling angry, then my job is to think about a time that I felt angry and to channel that and to be human with that. If
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling excited, then I want to feel excited with you. I have to channel that. So just kind of reflecting that back and being human. Like if we're not being authentically human, like it's not about, hey guys, it's so great to meet you. I'm in such a great mood because nobody cares about that.
No,
Nobody cares
no,
about you being over the top
not when they're
bubbly
in
and that's like
crisis, especially.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely no. It's about being human. So sometimes being human and also asking for grace, like, hey, I'll be honest, I'm a little tired today. And if I do yawn during session, it's not because your story is boring. It's because I'm tired, but I'm going to do my best to focus on you and your needs at this point. So, I mean, when you establish that connection with people and have that trust and that rapport, then they'll give you grace. They'll be like, okay, this guy's a human. Like when I pretend to be like super duper buttoned up and professional, then that's when people are like, this dude's fake.
Mhm.
But when you're just real, it's like, okay, he's real.
Now, what what do your coworkers think of your wrestling career? Do they know
I
about
mean,
it?
oh yeah,
Or
sure, sure. Like some of the days when you see this, the loudest might be because like they've surprised me and they're all there. Like there's been some times
okay.
when, I have 10, 15 people from work coming in and celebrating and having the big Zoe signs or whatever. So they like it. Most of my clients know about it. Like I feel like it's not something I can really hide or pretend like it doesn't exist. So
No.
usually during my introduction, like I just tell people, hey, I'm Dr. Kawan Owens. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Went to U of L for my master's, U of L for my doctorate, Murray State for my undergrad. Like this is all stuff you can do a quick Google search and you're gonna find it out in 2 seconds. So what's the point in hiding it? You know what I
Hmm.
Right,
mean?
right.
Like, and I've been a professional wrestler. That's my coping skill. That's my outlet. So letting people know that that's the thing that like kind of helps me like to be able to find that balance. Like I can be a nice guy to you and help you with your problems because I have that coping outlet of going to the ring and beating other people up. That's how my stress relief. That's my outlet. So when I get frustrated at the situation, I'm gonna go body slam somebody. So if you see a little extra stink behind the chop, you know what it was. I had a rough day at the office, and now you're gonna have a rough day at the office in the
Oh,
ring,
yeah.
and that's how it goes, man. It's all about balance.
After a career kind of in the psych field, is there anything that you've ever done in the wrestling ring that I guess you learned from psychology? Like, does that make sense? I don't know exactly how I want to word that. But like, what's something I guess you learned in your schooling or in your professional life that you've used in the ring?
And I guess it's probably less about the ring and more about like the character. Like Dr.
Okay.
Zoe
Yeah.
is literally just Dr. Owens, right? Just turned up a little bit. So everything that I do, like the reason why I'm able to connect with fans so much, I think, is because I'm not playing a character. I'm not trying to pretend to be something I'm not. I'm just thinking about what are my motivations and what are the things that I can pull from. So when I think about, okay, what are things that I know as a therapist or in psychology? So I know about diagnosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know about symptoms. I know about like different interventions. So when I could say, well, it seems as though you're dealing with some cognitive dissonance. There's a discrepancy between your behaviors and your thoughts. And my dear friend Eric Surge, it seems as though you have displaced anger and animosity. While while you're blaming it on me, it might be that actually you're reflecting your repressed anger and your frustrations onto yourself, and it's reflecting on me. And yes, hurt people hurt people.
Man, I'd want to hit you
So
too. Like that would get under my skin big time.
absolutely, yeah. Because it's like, because I that's the thing about Dr. Zoe, right? Is I haven't really told a whole lot of lies. I haven't done anything that's disingenuous. I haven't done like everything that I've done and said. It's like, well, I mean, I don't understand why you guys are booing me because literally you guys paid for a ticket to watch me engage in fisticuffs, to watch me engage in violence, to watch you literally came to watch me enact violence, and now you're mad because I'm being too violent. Does that make sense? My job is to win prizes such as the OVW United States Heavyweight Championship and
Right.
any means necessary. And when I do that, I'm the bad guy because your favorite wrestler that chose to engage in this match got hurt doing exactly what we said we were going to do. Didn't beat him up in the streets, didn't beat him up in the bar. I beat him up in the middle of the wrestling ring. And maybe I did it a little too good. So that makes me the bad guy. And people have trouble. I think that pisses people off more than anything is the fact that I'm so honest about it. I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, are you upset with me because I'm just objectively more educated than you? Because I'm, and that's a shoot. I'm not saying I'm necessarily smarter. I have a higher IQ, but there's not too many people, except for people might not know this, but Katie Gannon's actually a pharmacist. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but she's the only other person I know.
We're interviewing her next week, so that's I'm going to put that in my back pocket. So thanks for that.
So hopefully, if she doesn't say that, she needs to say that, right? So I hope
absolutely.
I'm not pulling back a curtain or putting her business out there, but it's like there's not too many other people that are doctors. So I mean, I'm like, if I'm gonna I jokingly say like when people are like, well, why'd you go back and get your doctors? I'm like, I did it for wrestling, so I can become Dr. Zoe. Because honestly, at work, like I'm not getting a promotion, I didn't get a raise, it didn't like necessarily change much about what I'm doing, other than like now it's like, oh, some people call me Dr. Owens, but most people just still call me Kawan because a lot of people around here are doctors, so it's not even that impressive. Like,
right.
I work with psychologists, I work with psychiatrists. Now, okay, you can call me doctor too if you want to, but for the most part, the main place where people call me doctor is OVW and TikTok. So on TikTok, they call me Dr. Kawan, right? Most people say Dr. Cowan or Dr. Cohen, but it's Kawan. But I mean, honestly, that's like, it's not even like that big of a deal, like as far as like the work wise. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna go to school for 3 years, get this doctorate, then I'm gonna, like I always jokingly say, it's gonna so I can be Dr. Zoe.
Yeah,
and it's working.
It is working, as shown by that title behind your back there. Let's talk about that for a second. It's the U.S. title. It's the newest belt in OVW. Comes from a long lineage of champions, though. How does it feel to hold that title?
It feels good. I think it's kind of like validation in a way that like I've always known that like skill wise I'm capable of being like the champion or whatever, but it never like my ego, my hubris was never such to where I felt like it was the time or that I necessarily deserved it or even necessarily wanted it, because the champion is the biggest jobber in the company, really, if you think about it. Like my job is to put other guys over, to make this thing the most relevant as possible, to give it that semblance of purpose. So, but it really does feel good after being in this particular company for 10 years and like having that goal, that dream, that admiration, ambition to do it. It's also kind of weird because like this is technically, in the most technical sense, this is the top prize at OVW, right? This is the top championship. But I think it's really easily forgotten about that that's like technically the pecking order, that it's like the OVW heavyweight and then the OVW United States Heavyweight Championship. I think that's for a few reasons. One of it is the OVW Heavyweight Championship, like the one that you have on the replica you have on your shoulder there, Jackman. Like it's like the one that has the most history. It's the one that like the greats have held. It's the one that's been around, that has the most prestige in that regard. So this is kind of like an afterthought when they said we're going to have a national championship, which is going to be an even bigger prize, and then we're going to change it to the OVW United States Championship, which is going to be, But the thing is, like, it's hard for you to be a wrestling fan, like a WWE wrestling fan, and to think about the United States Championship and then think U.S. Championship, World Championship, like that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So people think about U.S. Championship here, OVW heavyweight champion. Like I even heard you guys the other day were kind of like, well, the OVW heavyweight championship that Cal Hero has is really the big prize. And it's like, that doesn't really like bug me on a personal level, but that's real. I mean, that's how people see it, right?
Right.
So I feel like it's my job to kind of remind and reflect that technically this is the top one. Now, if we want to get really, really into the sauce though, I want to have the OVW heavyweight championship because that's the one that when I grew up and I saw it, I want to be able to have that history. I want to be able to hold that someday. Even if this is the top prize, like that's great, but I still have my eye on the OVW Heavyweight Championship. And I believe the Cal Hero is doing a phenomenal job as the face of the company, as the guy that's kind of holding it down. He's been hungry as a young guy. He has a lot of upside. I can see him on the big stages someday.
Yeah.
And so I guess, I don't know, I'm all over the place, but I'm thankful, I'm grateful. It means a lot that they put this on me to kind of see what happens. And I hope that it produces more people wanting to come and get eyes on OVW because like I watch you guys a lot, like I say that, and it really is humbling. Like when you guys are like, hey, we love watching Big Zo, but we know that he's probably gonna do the job. He's probably gonna lose. It's probably not, Then when I finally win it, I can't think of a more deserving guy. They finally have given him an opportunity, and it's like that's kind of validating, right?
And it was there. It was always there for you to get lit. Like the match could have been struck at any time, and when they finally struck it, I mean, people were ecstatic. People were so excited for it, and I think it was a long, long time coming as well. Sorry, excuse me.
I think timing is everything too, right?
Sure.
Like we all have, like it might be that my role at this particular time is to be the gatekeeper, I'm the gatekeeper so that if somebody, like the proving grounds, if they can beat a big guy, massive guy like Big Zo, then maybe they're deserving of X, Y, and Z or whatever. Or I'm going to be the guy that's going to go up against whoever the champion is, on the wrestler show Netflix, on the Netflix show Wrestlers. Like people are like, why weren't you on there, Big Zo? I was on episode 2 fighting Shira. They didn't say my name, but I was putting him over, right? Because like that day, that pay-per-view, they called me last second, hey, Big Zo, are you available to come up? We need you to fight Shira because somebody no show. All right, cool, I'll do that. Like anytime that something's asked of me, I want to be available to be able to do that. So a lot of times it's like Big Zo's the guy that fights the champions because he's the big menacing presence, blah, blah, blah. But I've never really been given that position until now, and it's humbling to finally get it, even if it never, I was hoping that would happen someday, but even if it didn't, I was still going to do my thing and have fun in the meantime. So
how do you think that you can help redefine the U.S. title? And definitely you touched on something about the hierarchy of titles. What do you think is something you can do to really let people know the U.S. title definitively is the top title in OVW?
I think sometimes people need paint by numbers. I think sometimes you got to spell things out. I don't think that we really talk about it very much. I think it might require an interaction between the United States champion and the OVW heavyweight champion at some point to kind of reestablish, to give that history lesson to kind of define what's what and who's who. You know what I mean? Like I think that if you like can completely separate them, and then I think people are just going to continue to think, oh well, OVW is the OG title, and then we have the other one that's bigger and shinier, but it's not quite as important. But I think until you have the promo, until you put it out there, because it's just not going to be out there, people are going to keep thinking what they're going to keep thinking. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Guys, do you have anything you want to talk to Big Zo about?
I've got a question. So
Please.
You said earlier that in terms of OVW fans and violence, people getting upset because there's too much violence. That's like going to a steakhouse and getting pissed because the steak is too good. How does that make you feel?
It's funny. It's I don't guess I really feel any particular kind of way about it in a way. Like it's just like it's fun to be able to take that and turn it on its head. And like my job as a therapist is to hold the mirror up to people. So a lot of times people don't even realize what it is that they're saying or what it is they're complaining about until I hold the mirror up and shine it and reflect it back to them. It's like, this is what you said. These are the words that have come out of your mouth. This is my interpretation. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. So I don't necessarily feel happy, sad, mad, worried. I'm just pointing out the facts. It's just I feel indifferent to that point. I think it's curious. I think it's funny. I think it's kind of like, oh, that's cute that you're mad that that's happening. But I mean, the thing is that there's also so many fans, like, regardless of who I beat up and how terrible and monstrous I am, whether it's an AJ McKay, whether it's one of my best friends in the world, Josh Ashcraft, whatever, like, there's still gonna be those hungry, bloodlust hungry fans that want to see me do more and more and more and more. And as terrible as I can be, they're still gonna cheer for me. So it's like my job is to, as long as people are making noise, I'm fine with that. But if my job is to be a terrible human being and to be awful, then like the Davis Arena has now known me for a decade and they've seen me as a good guy, as a bad guy, whatever. And some people, like, when I first started to make that shift and focusing on me, then it was kind of quiet. You know what I mean? Like, because when I'd come out as a good guy and I'm dancing and it would erupt. And then I'm doing some things that they're like, ooh, I don't think we're supposed to be cheering for this, but I'm not quite ready to boo for this. So people are sitting on their hands. And to me, I was like, uh-oh, we might have a problem. But now people are starting to cheer again, but some people are also booing. So it's kind of like that mix. As long as people are making noise, I don't care what the noise is. But my job is to, like, I don't know. I have a job to, if you're a good guy, my job is to help to elevate you to be a bigger good guy, to help them to cheer for that good guy. If I'm a bad guy, then my job is to have you to hate me, boo me, or whatever. But as long as people have emotions, you're entitled to your opinion. So whether it's that there should be more violence, less violence, or whatever, you feel what you feel.
There's that psych talk right there. That's the greatest thing I ever learned in therapy is that you're allowed to have your emotions, and that the best thing is everybody has their own, and however you feel is fine. How you react to it is the issue. That is. I hear the psychologist, the psych worker talking right now.
That's it, man.
Tell us about your book.
All right, so my book is Cooking Up Counseling, A Recipe for Peace and Unsavory Times. I wrote that during the pandemic. Okay. I was actually inspired after getting hit by a car.
Whoa. You buried the lead. Yeah. What happened? Yeah, tell us about that.
So I was walking across Dixie Highway, as they call it, Dixie Highway here in Louisville.
Yeah.
But called Dixie Highway for a reason. I'm the team lead of the team at the time before I became supervisor. This is March 20th, 2020. No, I'm sorry. March 27th, 2020. Right after the world shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm walking across the Dixie Chicken to get some chicken for the team. And me and Katrina's co-team lead, and traffic stops for us. We're in a median. We start to walk. A car makes a left-hand turn out of AutoZone. I guess we're in the blind spot. I'm like, whoa, what the hell, man? They stop. So they stop. Cool. Okay. I guess they got tired of waiting, because it was probably like, in my mind, it felt like 5 minutes, probably like 3 to 5 seconds. They got tired of waiting. And they're like, they hit the gas. Boom. I go flying about 6 feet in the air. Chicken all over the ground.
And they wasted the chicken. And they wasted the chicken.
They wasted the chicken. But there was like grease stains on Dixie Highway for like at least a month afterwards where that was. I'm like, I'm glad that grease stain wasn't me.
In my head, this is very much a David Lynch production, because that's something very along the lines of something that he would present. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad everything's okay. Please continue with your story.
I don't want to ask the too obvious question before you continue, though. What's the car look like?
So here's the messed up thing.
Did you dent the car?
Yeah, they should have brought a tank, because the Impala didn't stand a chance. No, here's the messed up thing about it, is that at the time, I was driving a 2010 Chevy Impala, red one. This was the same make, model, year as my car, but in blue. So I'm like, so now I have empathy about what it would be like if I were to hit somebody with my car, because I just literally got hit by my own car. Just in a different color. So I don't know if it's like gang warfare,
maybe.
If it's like Bloods and Crips or Cards in UK or whatever.
Cards UK,
I get hit by a car walking across the street. and there's big grease stain.
Man,
Now, let me tell you,
crazy.
this is the fun part about that chicken that you said got wasted, is Dixie Chicken saw what happened, and they were able to replace the chicken, gave my team the chicken. That was great. So then when I go back to work, I'm like, hey, did you guys save me any chicken?
Oh yeah.
No, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Oh no!
So why did the chicken cross the road? Apparently,
Yeah.
so anyways, so I got hit by a car. I'm laying in the street, and I'm super frugal. I'm super cheap. But for whatever reason that day, I decided to spring it for an extra $18 to get a honey bun cake because my team deserves it. So luckily, I got that honey bun cake because while laying in the street, Katrina's like, here, put this behind your head as a pillow. So I use the honey bun cake as a pillow as I'm waiting on the
It's in a
ambulance
box,
to come
right?
straighten me off the street. Yeah.
Like it
What'd you
wasn't
say?
just like your hair just wasn't in the cake. It was like in a box,
No, it was
right?
boxed. It was
Okay,
boxed.
I just
it was,
wanted to make
It was
sure.
boxed or cellophane. I don't remember.
Just
but
for
it was
visual
covered.
purposes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
needed to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah. My
most
hair wasn't
surreal
nearly as long
story
in
I've
2020.
ever
Yeah,
heard.
this one's wild, man.
But yeah, so they ended up carting me off to the hospital, and I mean, the car was maybe about 10 feet away when it hit me because they had already stopped, and they decided, well, fuck it, we're gonna go and hit them anyways. So it wasn't like
Jesus
super far
Christ,
away.
Crazy.
So it threw me in the air, and I end up my knees hurt really bad, so I'm limping around for a few weeks. Fast forward a year or two later, I end up having to go into physical therapy for my knees to just start popping or whatever. I've always had knee problems. I'm a 300+ pound guy that played football for way longer than I should have, and then I'm a professional wrestler, so my knees have always not been great.
Yeah, they
So
didn't
that
stand
didn't
a
help
chance.
that situation. That was the
That's
main
tough,
issue.
man. Yeah.
And then I found out the day later I was fine at the moment, but I ended up having I already had a torn labrum in my right shoulder, but then I also had a torn rotator cuff, which I still have, which the doctors are like, your pain is minimal, your strength is high, your mobility is good. We can operate, and you might go from 90% to 70%. So you're probably better off just keep it alone. I was like, that's cool. But anyways, my point and how that has anything to do with this book, because we're taking this seriously, is as I'm laying down in the street, my first thought was, thank God I didn't hit my head, because I can still work. Now, whether or not my wrestling career was kind of in question at that point, but I was like, I can still be a therapist, I can still talk, I can still be able to earn a main living for my family. At that point, we weren't really wrestling much because the pandemic had everything shut down.
Yeah.
So that gave me a little time to heal up too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then I said, man, I'm gonna die someday. Like that was a realization that like nobody ever says, I'm gonna get hit by a car someday. Everybody's like, that's people that don't pay attention. That's people that aren't careful. That happens to other people. It doesn't happen to me. But that was a wake up call that did happen to me, and I could die, and I will die someday. I don't know when it's gonna be, but how can I leave something that's gonna outlive me? So I said, I found myself saying a lot of the same stuff in therapy sessions, like 6 times a day. So I was like, I should just write this down. I should put it in a book. And because other clients that aren't my clients, they might need this information too. Other therapists might be able to benefit from this information.
Yeah.
So I decided, like during the pandemic, when there's so many people that needed therapy because everybody was anxious and depressed, I said, let me write a book about what does therapy look like? What does mental health look like? What are some coping skills to overcome some of these challenges? So that's what I did. I wrote a book about it so that people could understand that. And I use a lot of dad jokes, cooking analogies, and metaphors because everybody eats. Like we might not all eat the same thing, but everybody literally eats. So everybody can relate on some level to food and cooking. So I was like, let me just demystify it, destigmatize it, make it like super relatable and accessible instead of using a bunch of $10 words. Let me just make it simple that anybody could understand and use some metaphors and analogies to break it down. So that's what it did. So I wrote a book and I also put recipes in there because people are like, oh, I got your cookbook. And I'm like, it's literally a mental health therapy book. It's just cookbook themes. So I was like, I already anticipated that somebody was going to confuse it for a cookbook. So I asked friends and family for what are some recipes. So like at the end of each chapter, because all the chapters are thematic, they're like have themes of different cooking. So it might be like, I don't know, like catastrophe cake. I don't remember. So then it's like, so then here's a recipe for a pound cake at the end of the chapter.
Okay,
That's awesome, man.
So there's actual recipes in there too.
You mentioned your family and worrying about in that moment after the car crash. I guess not worrying about, but knowing that you could continue to provide for them. What's your family life like? What's the situation?
So the first thing that I did when I'm laying there was I asked Katrina if I could use her phone so I could call my wife and kids. So I was like, call my wife, and I was like, hey, just letting you know, I just got hit by a car, but I'm okay,
How did she react? How did she react?
She was pretty excited. She's like, oh, that's cool. Maybe we'll get a lot of insurance. No,
the bag, man.
She was scared shitless. She was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God, are you okay?" I'm like, "Well, no, I just got hit by a car, but I'm not like no internal injuries that I'm aware of. I'm going to the hospital, figure out what's going on." So my wife's a little on the anxious side, anyways, So she's very super protective. And my kids, my daughter left me a voice message, and she's like, "Daddy, I'm just checking on you, making sure you're okay." And she was super young at the time because let me see, how long ago is that? This is so I guess about 5 years ago. So she would have been about 10, I guess. But it was just very sweet and very concerned. But my kids are now 13 and 15. 13-year-old daughter, 15-year-old son. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. 13-year-old son, 15-year-old daughter. But they're both 2 years apart. All my family's September birthdays. My son, my wife, my daughter. So September is an expensive month.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
At
mean,
least
yeah.
there's no
so
other
we-
holidays that month, like.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So
You'd be screwed if it was December.
Yeah.
That's how it is
yeah,
at
no
my
doubt.
house.
My birthday's in March, so it's literally half a year away from them. But yeah, I live with my wife and kids. We're happily married now for 17 years or so
Man,
that I've been
awesome,
married.
man.
So
And
wait,
like I said, my kids.
so you guys were married before you started wrestling?
Uh-huh. Well, before I started wrestling again professionally, let me put it like that.
Okay, so
So-
you had a break and.
Yeah. So like I started wrestling probably in like 1999 or whatever, like backyard wrestling, like before the internet was big. Like the internet was around, AOL dial-up, 14.4K modem. We had chat boards, so there's like we would connect with people in that way. But as a teenager, we like mail our tapes into public access, and that's kind of how we were able to get like have connections and then rent out wrestling rings and get training from guys in IWA in different places.
Yeah.
Go to the Bardstown Arena. It was the very first place that I wrestled at. So being able to do that. So I started wrestling like for about a couple years as a teenager. But as far as professionally wrestling, as far as actually getting appropriately trained and getting paid for it, was 2014. So now it'll be, 12 years that I've been doing that.
What's the conversation like when you have to tell your wife? You're kind of like, like, babe, I think I want to go fight guys in my underwear. Like, I think I want to I think I want to go fall on my back. Like, what's the conversation like?
So like my wife's super supportive, and like I'm somebody that does a little bit of everything. So like she was there. Like I used to rap. I don't advertise. I used to rap. I used to be a rapper. I record an album like 11
Oh,
DMV. Like we had an album that dropped.
We
So
got
I used
homework.
to rap.
We got
And
homework,
then
guys.
I was a semi-pro football player for a little bit. I played, I was
okay.
2000 state championship high school football at Male, and then I played at Murray State for a year, and I decided I want to focus on my academic scholarship. But I went back and played semi-pro for Derby City Thunder. It's not nearly as glamorous as it sounds. It didn't pay anything, but it was fun. But so she's always
Good
known me
experience.
to be active and engaged in a lot of stuff. So once I was done with rapping and I was done with football, it's kind of like, what's next? And I was like, ooh, I want to do wrestling. But the reason was because I had a buddy that was like, hey, we're going to this wrestling show. It's D1W. I went, and it was pretty cool. And I was on internet like, just, hey, you guys should check out this wrestling show. It's pretty cool. And I had a buddy from college that reached out. He's like, do you wrestle? I was like, well, I used to back in the day, but I don't wrestle. He's like, well, I wrestle. You want to get back into it? I was like, bet, say less. So I talked to her about, I was like, babe, if I was able to make it big, then like that $100,000 in student loans, maybe we could like chip away at that a little bit if we was able to like get in the WWE and make it. At this point, I don't think Hunter's looking for a 40-year-old social worker. What maybe he is, I don't know. But I don't really have the aspirations or the like. I'm not pushing to get on the big stage. I love what I do. This office is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I have a good career trajectory. But at the time, 10 years or 12 years ago, I was like, hey, late 20s, I was like, this is feasible and possible. It didn't happen. I didn't push as hard as maybe I could have. But she was, she was always supportive. She, of course, she just gets scared and nervous and anxious about things, but she trusts me and she's going to support.
And your kids.
Like all my cool merch is because she makes it.
Oh,
so she
shout out
supports.
to her. Shout out to her. And your
Yeah,
kids.
she made that shirt.
Do they think?
awesome.
Do they think it's? Are they into it? Do they care? I know that teenagers can be fickle. Like, what do the kids think?
So, I mean, I've been doing it for almost as long as they've been alive. You know what I mean? So, like, it's like they don't really know a whole lot different.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, my dad's Big Zoe, whatever. So I guess if one of their friends just so happens to be a wrestling fan, and they're like, oh, my friend said he saw you on TV. So I guess my kids are into it, and like when they were younger, my wife would bring them to every single show before the world shut down with the pandemic. Then after that, it got kind of comfortable and easy to not come as much, and
Oh
it's really
yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
She's like, it's just easier to just not come. So just tell me how it went. I'll watch you on TV, especially now that it's live.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll just watch you on TV. Make
Easier
sure
to
you're
find than
alive.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think my kids, they're supportive. Like my son claims he wants to be a wrestler. My daughter actually started wrestling in high school, just real recently, just literally just started.
That's
Whether or
like-
not she's gonna continue, I don't know. But she's gotten a taste of it.
Mhm.
So
I
you know.
heard that I read recently that amateur wrestling for girls in high school is like the fastest growing sport in the country.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good way to get a scholarship. But the thing is, she's so enamored too with like choir and singing and acting and that kind of stuff. So she has a lot of interest. So being able to like, invest the time, I think she's still kind of like, I really enjoy this wrestling thing, kind of sort of, but I also don't want to get hurt, and I also have time commitments with other things. So I think she's still kind of toying with whether or not that's what she wants to do. My son claims he wants to be a chef and he wants to be a wrestler, and I'm like, that's cool, but also like do something else, like get a backup plan just in case.
Yeah.
Like get a degree that you're gonna, and I don't knock anybody that's all in. But for me, like I think the downside is obviously that means that you're gonna have that deficit of starting a little bit later, but you're also gonna have that guarantee of having that backup if it doesn't work, and the likelihood of it working out to the level to pay your bills is pretty minuscule for a lot of people. But that's just my pragmatism and just kind of being honest.
I wonder where your son got the idea to be a chef and a wrestler. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's funny because even though I wrote a book about, like, people are like, "Oh, are you a really good chef too?" I'm like, "Nah, man. I can make some mean ramen noodles. You know what I mean? I can fire up the grill. I can grill good, but it's not like I'm a chef." But yeah, my son, that's what he wants to do. I don't know.
That's awesome, man.
But both of my kids are super intelligent, so they can do whatever they want to do, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what they want to do.
Again, couldn't imagine where they picked that up.
Yeah.
Their wife's their mom's pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
So.
I could only imagine, man. She sounds very
Yeah.
awesome. Sounds very awesome.
Yeah.
Zoe, we've went pretty long, man. I didn't mean to keep you this long. I guess kind of, unless there's anything else you guys want to add, we can wrap it up here. Brian Allen?
I had a couple. If I
Yeah,
could
no,
fire off.
please,
Do you have
please.
time, though? If that's okay?
It's always Zoe time.
Man, that's the truth, man. Appreciate you so much. I wanted to swing back just to, well, this is kind of an appreciation thing, and we'll swing into the question, but my dad served in Desert Storm back in the 90s and got out around the early 2000s and kind of kept a lot of that with him, all that comes with that. Until recently, the past couple of years, where other veterans recommended he started getting into VA help, and he got help with. He was finally able to get disability and get proper diagnosis for some of his mental stuff that he'd gone through for years, and it was such a big help for him. So I see the value in that more than ever, and what you guys do. With the VA, whether it's diagnosing physically or mentally. So want to thank you for that, because that's a lot of great work you all do.
I appreciate that.
No,
thank your dad for
absolutely.
his service
No,
too. Yeah.
no, thank you so much. I'm gonna let him know that too. Let him know about this interview. He'd love it too. He'd love hearing from you.
I bet.
Since you've been, I know you said you wrestled for a while, took a break and stuff. You've always been a busy guy. When did you find, maybe it came quick, maybe it took a while, when did you find that balance between wrestling life and the social work stuff, what you do now, your profession? That's a lot to juggle, man.
I'll let you know when I find it.
I like that. That's what I figured. I was like, maybe that's something you never really like, oh, I'm good now, we're good. Or, no, the brain's always going when you're juggling a lot like that. I completely
I guess for
understand.
me, like, so there's a lot of guys that like go all over and travel the world, and I've defended this thing in Wisconsin, and I've done other things, but like I'm not nearly as active on the international or the national roster as like maybe a lot of guys. You might not see me in the IWP or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I might not be in the top 500 because I'm not globetrotting the way that a lot of guys
Yeah.
do. I'm kind of a a company guy in the sense
Yeah.
that I mostly am OVW guy. And people
Gotcha.
are like, oh, the 40 milers, and they like to shit on the 40 milers or whatever. And like I do go out. I've gone to other states. I've been doing this for a while. But like at this point, like for me, focusing on as much for OVW and not trying to stretch myself too thin is helpful. And even then, it can be a lot, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
but
absolutely.
I kind of look at it as like the wrestling is the fuel that kind of helps me to continue to do my full-time job. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
my outlet and it kind of fuels the tank so that I can keep doing this.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. No, that's awesome, man. Thank you. Another big one I got to ask. This is a huge one. As a brother who cut his locks in 2022 and started regrowing, I got a 2-strand twist going now. I got to take them out soon. But how long have you been growing your locks, man? Because I know the work that takes and how much of a chore it can be, man.
Yeah, man. So this is probably like my fifth lock journey.
Really? Okay.
And if you like go back, you'll see like not even that long ago, like
Yeah.
maybe about 7 years ago, you'll see some bald Big Zo pictures.
Oh, okay.
Like, so I was actually growing my hair out, like in the old LOB days or whatever,
Really?
and I had them
Okay.
for probably about 5 years, and probably around the time that Matt Capitelli passed away, I think I'm gonna say I was probably about 2017, 18 or so like that. I cut my hair off, and I was completely bald.
Yeah.
And I actually sold some of my locks like for $1 a piece
Yeah,
and
yeah.
gave them to Matt Capitelli when he was sick and his family or
Yeah.
whatever,
Oh,
like
that's
for those
awesome,
proceeds
man.
or whatever. I actually saved some of those locks.
Yeah.
So recently I tried to like crochet
Yeah,
them into the
reattach.
sides and the back.
Yep.
And then sometimes if you pay close attention in the ring, it'll be like, oh, there's a random lock on the ring.
Really?
And it's because they keep falling out.
Yeah,
So I
we
just
start
gave up
looking
on
now.
it.
Oh, man, yeah.
I gave up on it. I had fork beard to just go ahead and just cut off my sides, cut my back
Yeah.
because I've been growing them for how long have I been at the VA? I've been here working here about 6.5 years, and probably when I got here, they were twist.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say probably about 7 years if you count the time from like scalp to now.
Yeah.
But as far as having locks, I'd say about 6 years.
6 years. Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's
And they'd be a lot longer again if
Yeah.
I didn't have them up so high.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I
yeah.
get it, man. I know how it goes, man. No, I get it. No, thank you for that. I got one more because I don't want to keep you too long. But me and Brian were at Hell Night, and the match you had with Eric Surge, man, that's just brutality.
Oh yeah, I know about brutality.
Yeah, you do. After a match like that, man, what's the recovery like? Like, do you hate your life after that? Like, following it immediately, or like, what's the recovery like? You know, if you've
I
done
don't know
it
if
so
you can
much.
hear this. This is my good shoulder.
Oh man,
I don't know.
okay.
It just kind of does
I
that.
heard it.
That's my
I
good
heard it.
shoulder.
Yeah.
But I tell you, like, I guess there's probably a reason why I have not been there the last couple of weeks. They probably thought that we needed a little time to recover after
Yeah,
that
man.
match because we did beat the holy hell out of each
that
other.
was
Yeah.
a lot,
Uh,
man. Yeah.
But I'll be
the
honest,
least.
like
Yes.
as terrible as much as like that match probably hurts more than a normal match, but the recovery is not quite as bad in the sense that like in a normal match where you're like literally getting slammed on the mat. Every time you get slammed on the wood and the steel, it's a 25-mile-per-hour car wreck is what the damage it does to your body. That's
Oh
what
my gosh.
the equivalent of it.
Yeah.
Versus it hurts very, very bad to get hit with a kendo stick, which was not gimmick. The string
Yeah.
was on there.
Oh, yeah.
That shit hurt.
Yo, man, we
By
heard it.
getting hit by a extension cord,
Yeah, that was the
hurts.
one.
Oh
That
my
was the
God.
one. We were like,
Oh my
Yeah, that
God.
shit
with
was
a steel
fucking
chair.
brutal, man.
Like you
Yeah.
can't fake this stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If you want to know what it feels like to be a wrestler, go hit your friend as hard as you can with the steel chair and tell me how you fake that.
Yeah.
Tell me how you fake getting hit with a extension cord. That shit just
Exactly.
hurts.
We don't like
But
that.
at the same time, being hurt versus being injured
Yeah.
is two different things.
Absolutely.
Now, when he suplexed me off the apron, that hurt
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah.
That could have been injurious, but you know, so
That
my
one
back
was-
has been hurting a little bit since that one. But for the most part, like a lot of the things that we do in those matches that are super brutal, like they're very, very painful.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd say that honestly, sometimes those regular matches, like if you take a regular bump the wrong
Yeah,
way,
on the back especially.
that can be like even more devastating. So it's just
Yeah.
about being careful, but
Yeah.
you know,
No, gotcha.
hitting hard in safe spaces.
Yeah.
Places.
That's awesome. That's great insight too, man. That's appreciated.
Brian Allen, your
Yeah.
first interview, you're bringing the heat, man.
Man,
Yeah.
learning
Bringing the heat.
from you guys, man. The interviews y'all ran, they're fantastic, man. So Nah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course, man.
Big Zoe,
thank you.
this has truly been an all-timer. This has truly
Yeah,
been
man.
an all-timer.
Amen.
We
All
cannot.
time best interview you guys have ever conducted, I'm sure. It's been a pleasure, guys.
No,
Yeah.
this has been so fantastic. Can you just tell our listeners real quick where we can find the book and where we can find you on social media?
All right, so the book is available on Amazon. Actually, I was listening to you guys one time. I think Brian, after you'd gotten the book, y'all are like, well, maybe it's available at concessions. And I'm like, no, Becky K said it's not available at concessions. So since then, I've bought a few author copies, so I will have a handful available at concessions.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Okay.
first come, first serve. You can buy them $20 at OVW Hot Point Davis Arena. But the easiest way to get a hold of it, go to Amazon. You can buy the Kindle digital version for $10. You can buy a paper, version you could flip through, sniff, bite, whatever, like for $20.
And plug the name of it one more time.
Cooking Up Counseling, a recipe for peace in unsavory times.
Thank you.
If you go on Amazon, type in Cooking Up Counseling, it'll pop up. If you type in Kawan Owens, it'll pop up. It's as far as social media, I'm mostly on Facebook, so bigzo.wrestle, or just look at Big Zo, and I'll probably be one of the first 3 to 5 or whatever. I do a lot on TikTok, to be honest with you. It's not. I need to actually make a Big Zo TikTok, but my Dr. Kawan on TikTok is where I'm on more than anything these days. But which is kind of weird because I'm being all happy-go-lucky on there. People are like, "Hey, Big Zo," and I'm like, "Oh, I hate you." No, but I'm having a good time. I go on the TikTok live, and people give gifts and stuff, and we have fun. And I'm like, whatever. I'm more of Dr. Kawan than Dr. Zo on there. So, but it's all cool though.
Yeah.
Man, I thank you so much. I can't say anything more or less than that. Thank you so much.
This has been a real treat.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
Sure. I appreciate you guys, and I wish we could do it in person. We will eventually.
We'll have you down
We
soon.
will, yeah.
Open. Obviously, the door's always open, man. Obviously,
I
the
know
door's
it. Y'all
always
say it, and that's been on me for not walking through it, because as you could probably imagine, I get kind of busy.
open. Yeah.
And when I'm not busy, I want to rest.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing
Trust
no
me,
shade.
man.
Just-
Deserve it.
Story of my life these days.
Yep.
Hey, man, take care of yourselves, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
No, yeah, thank you, man.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Guys, much love, y'all.
Yeah.
Much love.
Have a good one, man.